In a couple of months' time, I'll be celebrating my 76th birthday, and I find myself thinking about death more than I used to. Not in a morbid way, but there's an awareness that I'm now in the last quarter of my life, and I need to get a move on if I'm going to complete the lessons I came into this life to learn. You see, I do have strong beliefs around death, souls and reincarnation, and I completely respect that not everyone shares them, but would ask you to keep an open mind as I continue. My spiritual belief started when I was 19, getting ready to go to a midsummer ball with my boyfriend, but had a raging sore throat and a bad headache. His mum was a medium, and she offered to give me some healing. Well, I was a bit sceptical initially, but she held her hands over the areas where I had pain for about 10 minutes or so, and I was astonished to find that my symptoms magically disappeared. Over the years, I've had many instances that reinforced my belief that we're all souls inhabiting different bodies to learn lessons before returning to our real home that I like to call the source. After my first husband died, I asked for a sign he was okay, and soon after, while I was driving, a car appeared in front of me. It was an expensive sports model, and the number plate bore the exact initials of my husband's name. When I lost my second husband, I went to see a spiritual healer I'd never met before. She told me there was someone close by me, and she could smell freesias very clearly. Jules always bought me freesias because he knew how much I loved their scent. There have been countless incidences since then, each one reinforcing my beliefs. Funny that when I decided to train as a hypnotherapist, I unwittingly chose a course that included past life regression. Over the past 24 years, seeing many hundreds of clients for past life regression and QHHT, I facilitated the ending of their past lives, not this life of course, and the transition of the spirit to the other side. It's always a beautiful experience for the client, and one of the phrases I regularly hear is, "It feels like I'm back home." Interestingly, many of my clients later admit that they were previously scared about dying, as they weren't at all sure about what happens next. But the fear has now completely disappeared. Do we choose when, where and how we die? Seemingly we do. When we create the blueprint for our next incarnation, we write in a number of opportunities to leave again, exit points they're called. And from the soul perspective, we can choose to take whichever one is right for us in the moment. These might include accidents, death by another hand, illness, or even taking our own life. But why, you might ask, would we want to check out early? Well, every life has a purpose. We're not here just to have fun, although no one says we can't include that, but to learn lessons to help our soul grow. When we're creating our soul plan for the next life we're going into, we decide on the main lessons we want to learn and the many possible ways we can choose how to learn them. This is called our life purpose. Let's say you've worked hard and completed your lessons quite early on in your life. Your subconscious will be aware of this and may decide to search for the next available exit point so you can return home to plan your next incarnation with new lessons to be learned. Alternatively, supposing you veered completely off your path, you're not progressing with your life lessons, and all you want to do is to leave your body and return to the source. Again, your subconscious will search for the most appropriate exit point. Once back home, there's no judgment, just the awareness that you have unfinished business. Hey ho, guess what? You'll need to return in another body with a new soul plan that includes successful completion of your lessons. The earth plane is said to be the hardest school of learning we can choose because the energy here is so dense, but it gives us an opportunity to progress our soul growth much faster by making that choice. The problem is that it's much easier to decide that we're ready to take on some serious challenges in our next incarnation whilst we're still in a dimension of peace, pure love and harmony. as soon as we join with our new body, the veil of forgetting comes down and we consciously forget while we're here. Rather like going to boarding school, if you arrived knowing all the answers to your exams, you just skive off and have a great time without learning anything. So what am I here to learn? Well, top of my list is definitely patience. And I believe I'm doing pretty well, but I'm not sure I've arrived at my destination yet. So it's likely I'll be hanging around for a little while longer, as I really don't want to come back and redo this lesson. I'm glad to say that I have no fear of death, but if you do, then can I suggest you do a session or two with an experienced past life regressionist? I think you'll be amazed by how differently you'll feel about your future once you've experienced leaving the body in what we call a past life.